Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
You can put those headphones back.
Yeah.
Mayor Burkett,
Mom coming around here and taking our.
Mayor Burkett,
I'm here.
Vice Mayor Paul,
Here.
Commissioner Salazar is absent, Commissioner Kessel is absent, Commissioner Velasquez.
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Mr. Manager, you're up.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioner. We find ourselves faced with addressing the millage rate and our budget tonight, and Jason's got very short presentation.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioner. Very short. We've been through this before, and as discussed, we will have to come to a unanimous decision on the millage and the budget tonight. Just as a reminder for those at home, your tax bill to Surfside is only 22% of your overall tax bill. 78% goes to other entities, and Miami-Dade County just approved their millage last night, staying at the same rate. This is what your millage will look like broken down by pieces, and then the important one here, as approved unanimously at the first budget hearing, is a 4.3499, rollback's 4.1046, and then I have to read this into the record. The taxing authority is the town of Surfside. The rollback rate is 4.1046. The increase of the rollback rate is 5.98%. The millage rate to be levied per the resolution is 4.3499. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, would you please read the resolution into
Yes.
the record?
Yes, Mayor. A resolution of the Town Commission of the Town of Surfside, Florida, adopting the final millage rate for the fiscal year commencing October 1st, 2021. Somebody's mic is on. Okay. I don't know. We'll try it again.
I think Jose can adjust.
It's okay. It's good. A resolution of the Town Commission of the Town of Surfside, Florida, adopting the final millage rate for the fiscal year commencing October 1st, 2021, and ending September 30th, 2022. Announcing the adopted final millage rate of 4.3499 mils, which is greater than the rollback rate of 4.1046 mils, computed pursuant to state law by 5.98%, providing for conflicts and providing for an effective date. Item 3.
Thank you. Thank you. Commission, what's your pleasure? Would you like to make a motion, or shall we hear from the public first?
A motion to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, then let's hear from the public before we, no, it's not. I beg your pardon. Before we vote. Mr. Platt?
Jeffrey Platt, 9225 Collins Avenue. I vehemently think that the millage rate should stay the same and should not be lowered. I think most of the people who moved to Surfside moved here because it was our little piece of paradise, because we had a police department, we had parks, we had a community center, we had an active community that cared about the people in the community. The Budget Committee came back unanimously to keep it the same. Even the mayor's own selection to the Budget Committee voted to keep it the same. I can only ask one question, Mr. Mayor. What's your agenda? Why is it different from everybody else's in town who seems to think it's the same? We think it's you and you alone, and I would like to know the reason why. And I think the town would like to know the reason why. Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
George Kouslis.
George Kouslis, 9225 Collins Avenue. I think Jeff Platt made quite a strong case why the millage rate is the one to go with, not the rollback rate. But more importantly, what I wanted to say is this isn't the time to be playing games, because we can kind of see where the vote may go and we'll be deadlocked and then we won't have a budget. And, you know, playing games with this stuff, they're doing it up in Washington, and it is just senseless. It is basically trying to make political points for, at this point, the change in the tax bill is de minimis. The hit to the town is $750,000. So anyways, approve the millage rate as it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Mary Ann.
Mary Ann Myshite, 9225 Collins Avenue. First of all, I'm here to read something from Cheryl Goldberg, Chair of the Budget Committee. She couldn't be here tonight and asked me to read a statement. Dear Honorable Mayor and Commissioners, after careful consideration and discussion of all options and multiple issues, the Budget Committee unanimously voted to keep the millage rate the same and not issue any rollback. The town's Finance Director, Jason Green, agrees with our recommendation. As a committee of residents volunteer who give selflessly of their time and expertise, we sincerely hope that our thoughtful recommendation be respected. We remain committed to Surfside's success, and having an ample town budget with which to provide exceptional services is key to residents' quality of life. As the current Budget Committee Chair, I would ask that you please respect our committee's recommendation and vote no to any proposed rollbacks. Thank you, Cheryl Goldberg, Chair, Budget Committee, 94001 Collins Avenue. And I would just like to throw in my 2 cents at this time. I also feel that we don't need to have a rollback because it will cost us next year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Glasses. Jeff Rose.
Jeff Rose, 8851 Froud Avenue. I'm going to echo the 3 previous speakers and actually go in a little bit more detail. Undergrounding, expanding our beautiful new park, new construction, LEED certified, all these things cost money. Our chair and unanimously, the Budget Committee approved it. Our town assistant town manager or finance director wants the millage to stay the same. But I'll go a little more technical. First of all, thank you for voting no last week, because if you would have voted yes, we would have had a lower millage. So actually, by you voting no, Mr. Mayor, we're back here because we would have had 3 votes. But now we're back here, and this is a great situation because now we have a redo, but we can keep the millage where it's supposed to be, which is the 4.3499. But the technical part that I talk about, homestead properties, residents of the town of Surfside, we don't really see much of a break when you change the millage. Investors, second home people, all of us here, let's just say our house is worth 500 grand. We're capped at 3%. We go up to 515 maximum. You change the millage, it means nothing. But if you're in the Fendi, the Four Seasons, you go from 3 million maybe to 4 million or 4 to 6, guess what? Those are the people getting the tax break. So when you cut the millage, you're benefiting the very wealthy and you're benefiting second homeowners, investors in town, not residents. So for that reason, I really strongly urge you to keep the millage the same to protect residents, because residents with this millage will get all the services that we want in town. If you do a millage cut, we know who it's for, not residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Last speaker, Marina.
Marina Saravia, 501 89th Street. I canceled my last appointment to make sure that I make my point heard, that I'm totally against any rollback on the mileage. I go with everybody else. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Commissioners, what's your pleasure?
I want to keep it the way it is.
The way you voted for last time?
No, the way it is.
The way it is here?
4.3.
And Tina?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, I can't support that.
Okay, so then we'll leave.
Okay,
Not playing these games.
okay.
I guess we'll have to wait
you wanna
here
make a
till the
motion?
next commission meeting, where we have 3 votes in favor of the current millage rate, but we will not be playing games here. When we have several residents in this chamber
Mm-hmm.
right now that have supported the 4.3499.
Okay,
Okay, and there's several residents that have also sent in tons of emails today. We want to underground our power lines, we want to fix our park, we want to find out what happened with that building. You want to spend $2.5 million, yet you want to throw away 700 of that. It's not going to happen.
okay. I disagree with that. I think that, you know, we have a fixed amount of money that we lived on last year. Property values have gone up, okay? Residents don't have to pay more every year. My objection is that they're already paying a lot, and I don't think we need to have them pay more. So that's all. And I think that we can have a difference of opinion. And I think that, you know, personally, I'm not gonna be bullied into raising taxes. So, listen, I respect the 5 people that have spoken tonight, and I respect their views, okay? But there are other people in town that have different views, and that's why.
Who?
Okay, listen, okay, who? Not residents, okay,
Then
good.
why aren't they here?
Okay, guys, if,
These residents took their time out of their busy schedule to be here.
yeah,
Oh, sorry.
yeah.
Then
Okay,
why
well,
aren't they
listen, I
here?
acknowledge that, you know, listen, they're just not here. So,
Okay, well,
Have you had
they missed their
discussion?
okay,
opportunity.
Mr. Platt, if you speak out like that again, I'm gonna ask you to step outside, because it's rude.
Oh, play the bully again.
Yeah, okay. Just play the respectable person, right? That's all you have to do. Respect the process, respect the meeting, and respect everybody's right to talk when they're talking. You had your time, okay? Nobody reached out and lashed out and interrupted you, okay? So, anything, Tina?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, when you speak about respecting the process, this is my 3rd term. When we are elected, the most important things we are told is that we appoint the town manager, we appoint the town attorney, and we set the millage rate and the budget each year. And that is the most important thing we do as commissioners. So I respect the process. I respect that keeping the millage rate the same is a good thing, because you don't know what the unexpected brings. Look what happened to us with the Champlain. And we have expenses that are accruing from that we're going to continue to accrue, because the president only backed us for the first month. So we don't know what else is coming our way. And it's important to have that money in the reserve so that we can utilize it when we need it. And then there are the projects that we put forward and the only reason we could put forward the 96th Street Park is because that money was put aside over the past 10 years. It was, you know.
Well, that was really the increase of the property value. It wasn't really anybody
Listen.
putting any.
Well, but it was money budgeted for that purpose. And the same with the Abbott drainage. We have the money for those things.
Listen up.
So it's important that we have the money for the things that residents want and need.
It's important that we have a balance, and, you know, I don't think we need to get angry or personal, and I think we all have our rights to vote the way we want to vote.
Okay, so you propose what you want to do.
Well, I'm just saying, that no, I will, but I'm just saying, listen, I'm confident that we're gonna have enough money to run our town and do our projects and not further increase taxes on our residents. It's just, personally, listen, if I thought we needed to do that, I would do it, okay? But this tax rate, this is the same rate, approximately, the rollback rate, as when I was the mayor 10 years ago, and we lowered that. We corrected the rate then. So this is the rate that we've always had. And by the way, guys, it's a lot higher than a lot of our surrounding towns, okay? So we're already higher.
Is that correct, Jason? What was the rollback rate 10 years ago?
Now, what was the rate 10 years ago?
Well, if you think about it, after
In
he was.
2009 and 2010.
In 2010, after he was no longer mayor, the rates had to keep going up for several years, and they didn't come down until the property values went up.
Well, the rates didn't have to go up, and, but they did anyway. And that was a political choice. And listen, you can be happy with raising taxes, that's okay. But philosophically, I'm only happy to raise taxes if we have to raise the taxes. And I'm not
Have you
convinced.
looked at the
We're not raising
pumps?
taxes.
Hold on one second. Have you looked at the gas stations? The fuel has gone up $1 and more. Have you gone to Home Depot to buy a piece of wood? That piece of wood, a 2x4 a year ago, was $5. Now it's $30. A piece of plywood was $10. Now it's $80. What is the other thing that I bought the other day?
Okay,
that
so
was
prices
also
have gone up. What's the point?
significantly.
But what's the point?
And you want to lower the amount of money that this town receives?
Well,
I
actually,
can't-
no. No, we're gonna-
That's irresponsible.
Well, listen,
So,
again, that's your opinion, but we're
But
not
then
lowering the
you're
amount.
not making a proposal, then,
Well, I am making,
Throw the number
I
out there.
supported the rollback rate the last meeting.
oh, that's what
And
you
that
want.
was a compromise with you, right?
Well, my compromise was a 4.2, but
Right.
seeing that residents are here, that they took their time to come here, and this is what, and honestly, I did sit down and looked at my own tax bill, and it's only $100, less than $100. Because you can't look at the overall tax bill. Yeah, if I look at the overall tax bill and they do take the rollback rate, then yeah, I save like
Tell
$400.
me what you want to use the
But that-
increase in taxes for.
What increase in taxes?
We're increasing taxes.
We're not increasing
are.
in taxes because we're keeping them at the same price that we had them last year.
No, but people are paying more because the value of their homes have gone up.
No,
Yes.
because my homestead stays the same.
No, it doesn't. It goes up.
No, it doesn't.
It goes up.
It goes up by 3%.
That's going up.
Which is nothing.
Okay, well, it goes up.
It's
And
nothing.
people that are
You
not
know,
homesteaded,
who it does affect is the new people that come to town. New people that don't have a homestead here, new people that are coming from other states that sold their houses for millions of dollars over there that are buying our houses for peanuts and then tearing them down and building up mansions. That's who this is gonna
Okay.
benefit.
Jason, you were
not
gonna
our
look up-
residents.
you were gonna
Yet
look-
our residents want undergrounding. Our residents want to fix the Abbott Avenue drainage, which in turn will fix several problems around town, because that's going to alleviate
that
the
has nothing
flooding
to
from
do
that one.
with-
But that costs $4 million.
Well, we have $4
Your
million.
own planning and zoning, we've spent almost over $200,000 fixing this planning and zoning. And where does that money come from? From the taxpayers' money.
Okay.
You want to spend, we already approved $750,000, which, by the way, nobody was told about this money, okay? To find out what happened to the Champlain Towers. Okay, so these are things that you want to spend all this money, yet you want to lower the millage rate. At this point, I don't think that's the best thing to do.
Okay, fair enough. Jason, you were going to give us some information?
Yes, to answer the question, 10 years ago in 2012,
10.
2012, because there were like 6 questions, so I'm going to
Yeah.
try and hit them all.
Oh, all right.
10 years ago, 2012, 5.5 was the millage. 2010, the millage was 4.7332. The lowest I have on record, which is just this year, which is about 15 years back, was 2008, and it was 4.25.
Okay,
So almost where we're at right now.
right. So,
It took 10 years to get it back to that.
Exactly.
Yeah, 4.3 sounds good.
listen,
But
guys,
right now, it's a major thing that we're going to spend on.
there's nothing that we are not going to be able to afford that we want to do. So and so if there was something that we needed to justify an increase in payments from our residents, I would be all for it. Let them pay the same thing they paid last year. That's all this is doing. It's just saying, you guys had a certain amount of taxes you paid last year, you're going to pay the same amount of taxes this year.
But that's what they're doing. Last year, they paid 4.3499.
No, but Nellie, you're mixing it up. So, Jason, come up here. On $1 million house, right? Typically, the taxes would be $20-something thousand, right? 2%.
The average residents don't have million-dollar homes.
But I'm just trying to make it easy for everyone to do the
You're
math.
making it easy for the million-dollar homes.
Okay, so let's make it easy for the vice mayor. Let's call it $100,000 house. Would that make you happy?
You know, it's not about me being happy.
But I know,
It's
but
about
you're
doing the right thing
interrupting.
for the residents.
I was giving an example, and you're giving a silly
Well, go
sort of
ahead.
argument.
No, I'm not.
So let's go to $100,000 to make the vice mayor happy. Okay, so we're gonna have a $100,000 house because she's upset with the $1 billion house. We'll do the $100,000 house. The taxes would be $2,000. Okay, if the value of that house goes up in 1 year by 50%, just to make it easy for the math, instead of 12% or whatever, if it goes up by 50%, that $2,000 turns into $3,000.
But they have homestead.
Hold on a second. Some of them have.
Homestead caps you at
Yeah,
3%.
some of them have homestead and some of them
Well,
don't.
if you don't have homestead,
Then
then you're
you're-
not a resident.
Then you're not a resident.
Thank you.
Well,
Yeah, you're not homesteading,
okay,
you're not a resident.
okay, that's an interesting argument. Then you're not a resident.
Not
Well,
vote.
So
you
I,
know,
Exactly,
know?
you're not even a voter. Thank you.
huh?
That's a good point.
That's an interesting point.
if I can, just to the commissioner's point, I mean, the Commissioner Velasquez makes a good point, and is that, yes, your homestead does cap the increase in your value by the 3%. So effectively, whatever above that, you're only gonna be capped at that 3%
Actually, it
rate.
could be less because it's the rate of inflation or 3%, whichever is probably less.
Well, right now, I think we're in an inflationary environment. I don't know when they capture that number, but as
Yeah.
many people know, over the past 6 months,
Yeah.
we have what people are saying are temporary COVID-related supply chain issues, which are causing inflation to pop higher than it's been
It's
in
just because they're printing too
about
much
15
money.
years.
That's why.
That's
we
a
have
debate that
inflation.
I think we've had before.
And then also the prices of fuel, that's a big.
Yeah, so you're seeing that across the board.
Well,
So yes,
that's-
you're right.
that's
The
related to
average
the money
resident
print.
would probably be capped somewhere around a 3%. You are keeping the tax rate the same. So if your home, I'll give you an example. My condominium, I live in Miami Beach, inexplicably decreased in value by 20%. I do not know why. It doesn't make any sense. Nothing happened in my area. I'm happy. my taxes went
Your
from
assessment went down 20%?
yeah. I'll be paying, instead of $10,000, I'll be paying, I think it ended up being like $8,300, $8,500.
Well, maybe the tax rate went down.
Nope, Miami Beach. No, Miami Beach has a tax
So you
rate of
mean- you mean
5.6, and
they
it goes up more
assessed
because of debt.
your property at 20% less?
About, yeah, it went down a bunch. Now, as everyone knows who looks at their trim bill, many people don't understand,
That's
the
incredible.
difference in your taxable value
wish
and
that
your
would
actual
happen to
market
me.
value is often dramatically different. I will tell you that my home is worth probably several $100,000 more than my taxable value.
But
I'm
let
not
me-
going to complain.
But, okay, let's not get off of
Yeah,
that, but I
there
wanted
we
to
go.
address Nellie's comment about, what the impact is to people. The impact is for somebody who paid $10,000 in tax last year on their house,
Mm-hmm.
okay? In the scenario where you have the rollback, they would pay $10,000 this year on their house, okay? That's how it would work. Because basically, it would put them back where they were on their payment of taxes. The point is, if you deal with the millage rate, what happens is their house went up in value, you see? Their house went up in value, and the rollback rate accounts generally on a large scale. Of course, it doesn't necessarily work individually, but on a large scale, what it says is, the city took in $10 million last year. Property values went up, so the city benefits from that. Now they're gonna take in $11 million because property values went up. Now, the owners of those homes didn't make any more money because they didn't sell their homes. But all of a sudden, because they got a piece of paper in the mail that said their house went from $100,000 to $110,000, they're gonna pay 10% more in taxes, okay? So that, and the city, or the town in that case, is gonna collect 10% more in taxes. So what the rollback does is it says, property values went up, okay? And we have to decide whether we want the city or the town to collect more in taxes because of that paper gain, or we want to leave the taxpayers in the position where they were paying a good amount of tax already, and they're not just gonna pay more because the value of their property went up on paper. That's the big difference.
Can I say something?
Of course.
My trim notice right here. And I think you might be a little confused, Charlie, because I think you're looking at it as an overall bill. Yes, if you do lower the rollback rate, I mean the county, the schools, and every single person that taxes our home, then yes,
No,
it
but we're
makes
not
a
talking about
difference.
that. We're only talking
But
about us.
if it's just us,
Yeah.
this is just us, my property tax bill for just the town of Surfside, if we keep the 3.24 or 3.4, whatever it is, it's $2,129.55.
Way too complicated now.
If we go back to the rollback rate, it's $2,000.09. $2,009.
Here's
That's
the-
$110.
Yeah, well, here's the point. The point is Surfside's portion of the bill
Should we look
is
at
only
anybody else's trim notice here?
Hold on. Surfside's portion of the trim notice is only 21 or 22%, is it? 20?
What we decide here is only Surfside. We don't
Correct.
have the power
Well-
to decide what Miami did. Or maybe you should call your political people over there and get them to lower the
I would-
overall. Yeah,
I-
we should do that.
We should.
maybe
then-
call
and the school
DeSantis
board
too.
too is very expensive too.
Yeah, totally.
Half of our taxes go, public input is done, Mr. Rose. So, the point is that this rollback rate puts the city in the same financial position it was last year. It doesn't give the city an increase. It doesn't give the town, I should say, an increase.
I don't agree with
Well, listen, Jason, let's get the answer to that. can you?
I just
Because
gave
I-
you an example
Well,
with
no, no,
my
no, but-
property
but
tax bill.
let's let
Should we
the-
look at anybody else's
Exactly.
residents that are here?
I looked at my bill, and I mentioned it last week,
Yeah,
but,
you did,
know.
$100.
Okay, listen, let's hear from our expert that you quote a lot. Go ahead, tell us. The rollback rate will give you the same amount of money. Now, and again, don't include the Champlain Towers because that's an aberration here. But generally speaking, the rollback rate takes you to the same place you were the year before. Is that not correct?
In the way, though it's a semi-complicated calculation and we're related to the Value Adjustment Board, but in general, what it's attempting to capture is the concept that the municipality would collect approximately the same dollars of taxes. It wouldn't have
That's
anything
my
to do
point.
about the individual
That's my point. And if we.
tax.
if
That
we-
again is not true.
Yeah, hold on a second, Jason's.
On my trim notice, it
Okay.
says last year I
Forget-
paid $1,949.
Okay.
So
It is
it
true.
would not even take me to where I was last year.
It is true, but that's because all of that other stuff is mixed in.
Well, total for the whole
Yeah,
town.
the total, the schools, the county,
No, no.
everything.
That's just Surfside.
Okay,
That's
but
not
you just heard
everybody
him
else.
say what it was, Nellie.
But, listen, the trim notice from the
but-
Miami-Dade County
But,
is not
but
lying.
again,
If I can-
80% of the bill you're pointing to is not us.
If I could just
But we
clarify,
can
that
only
is for the whole,
control
that's for
us.
the whole town. It's not necessarily every individual, 14,000
Correct.
homeowners. Some
that-
people pay less, some will pay
Some
more.
peop- right.
It all depends on what your valuation. But as the commissioner mentioned, there is the homestead, you're capped
No,
at 3% increase.
that's the biggest.
10% for non-residents.
That's the biggest issue.
Yeah.
It's the homestead. See, it's the homestead versus the non-homestead. Those non-homesteaded people will really pay a lot.
They're not residents.
So, you said that already, and you shouted it out, and if you guys keep interrupting,
This is like your properties in Miami Beach. You get taxed at 10%. Why? Because you don't live there. This is like any property that any of us has that's not where
All
we
right.
live.
Listen.
Homestead will only give you towards the house you live. They don't even give you a vacation home.
guys,
They'll
here's
give you
the-
one property and that's it.
here's another bottom line way to look at it. Jason just said it. The rollback rate gives the town of Surfside the same amount of money they collected last year. Okay, now, okay, Jason, is that true or not?
Jason, you might as well just stay up there.
It's approximately the same amount. Like I
Thank
said,
you.
that there are calculations related to the Value Adjustment Board because of prior deductions and everything. You end up around the same amount. If you look at the rollback,
But Jason, tell us what the term rollback is supposed to mean and,
that, as I had said, the general concept is so
Yes.
that the municipality will collect approximately the same
Thank you.
amount in absolute
That-
dollars.
That's the only question. So, if we understand that, and again, looking at your tax bills is nice, but that is not accurate, what you're saying. What's accurate, what's accurate is what he's saying.
So now you're calling the Miami-Dade Property Appraiser's Office a liar?
Okay.
Okay, so
Nellie,
then we
listen,
got big problems now.
Listen, if
This
that's,
is
if
the
that's the
city of
way you connect the
Miami.
dots, yeah, but I'm saying.
understand how you're
All I'm
connecting them.
saying is the rollback rate means the municipality, whether it's Surfside, Miami Beach, Aventura, the rollback rate exists because that's the number that puts them in the same place they were in the year before. Now, you don't agree, I respect that, but that's the way it is. Now, my position is generally, I don't, again, okay, that's it. Listen, officer, please escort Mr. Platt out. I asked him not to interrupt. This is the third time. Well, just hang on a second. Hang on,
Chief,
listen.
please do not take Mr.
listen,
Platt out of
Listen,
here.
hold on a second.
Okay, there's a majority vote. Tina's here,
Oh,
I'm here.
oh,
We do not want any
okay.
of our
We do not
residents
want
taken
to
out of
interject.
here.
Okay, well, we don't.
Absolutely not.
Okay, we're not gonna have interruptions.
Well, you're not taking residents out of
Okay,
this room.
but we're not having interruptions.
This is
Okay, listen, I don't want to get in a fight with you about this. The bottom line is we're talking about the rollback rate. The rollback rate is the rate that we collected last year. Now, again, you look at your tax bills, you don't agree with it, but if you're gonna go above the rollback rate, that means overall, you're gonna be asking the town's residents to pay more in taxes. And that's not what I'm doing, and you might think it's not, Vice Mayor, but it is. And, I guess we're gonna need this to be sort of like worked out later, where people are gonna be able to opine, but I'm not gonna vote to charge our residents more in taxes. So, as you said earlier, Nellie, if you wanna call it a day, we'll call it a day. you want to call it? Then make a motion to adjourn, please. Make a
No.
motion to adjourn.
There's a motion on the table.
I'm sorry?
There's a motion on the table.
Oh, there
Can-
is,
Can we
okay.
call the vote?
Yes. Call the question, please.
If I may, before you vote,
Yeah.
we need to explain to you the consequences of what happens if the town does not adopt a millage rate and a budget. Okay, you are required by state law to adopt a millage every year and a budget. You can only expend money pursuant to an adopted budget of the town. That's state law. If you don't take action today, and you adjourn this meeting without continuing it for further discussion, you will be in violation of state law. You could lose state funding, and your tax revenue from Miami-Dade County is in jeopardy.
Thank
Jason,
you.
is there anything else we
Thank
need
you.
Yeah, if I could just add two things to that. I had a conversation with the deputy property appraiser today, just to play out this scenario, the hopeful that, because I know that won't happen, we will come to a consensus tonight. What he had stated was that everyone always does this in September. You have to do this in September. But if it doesn't, let's say that there isn't that. He said what it would end up being for the county is it would be operationally catastrophic for the county if this wasn't done tonight. And the reason behind that is that the property appraiser must certify the entire county's role after all 34 municipalities and the county approve and certify their millage and their budget. If we did not do that,
Okay,
it would hold that up, and it would hold hostage
So
all
it-
2.7 million Miami-Dade residents getting their tax bill and
okay,
put it in jeopardy.
it's gonna be very bad, I get that. Okay, now, let me, just so I know, what did you propose last meeting? What was the rate you proposed?
4.2.
You proposed 4.2.
That was a compromise between.
No, I know, and
3
now,
4.1.
okay, well, hang on a second. 4.2 even?
I have many residents here that want 4.344499, and I think that's, the majority have spoken. And let's get the ones that want the 4.1 in here and figure it out. Oh, sorry. I have a question here. Can we as a commission have a vote to have an additional commissioner on the phone just this one time?
The problem, Nellie, is you normally could as long as there's a physical quorum present.
Well,
but
there
your
is.
Your code forbids any remote participation or voting by a commissioner who is not present.
Okay, but
So
can
the-
we do this on this one exception tonight?
I would not advise you to violate your own code.
Okay, well,
Those are the
then it's either we're gonna have to do that, or we're gonna be having no budget. Thank you. We have an emergency order.
can't do it, but I know. Let's play games. If he's playing games, we can play games.
Because we can get Eliana on the phone, I'm sure.
If he's playing games, the town, we should.
Listen, Jeff, do me a favor, stop interrupting. Okay,
So can we do this?
listen, I don't know what to tell you. You guys feel strongly about your position, that's great, okay? And I feel strongly about mine, so we disagree, okay? And I can promise you, you're increasing, what I'm trying to calculate is you're increasing your rate now that you supported last time, right? Is that what you want to do, though?
Charlie, you see the residents are here.
Well,
You're
Nellie,
not gonna
Nellie, I see-
say
I-
no
I
to
see the
people that
residents.
have taken the-
I see the residents that are here.
I'm not
I-
going
I-
to
I
say
don't-
no to the people that have taken their time out of their busy
All
day
right,
to
so-
come here and support this. The ones that didn't come don't get a voice.
Okay, fair enough. So Jeff Rose is here, Marina's here.
Marina's here.
Mariana's here, George Kuslis is here, and Jeffrey Platt is here. So
There was another
you're
resident
going
here.
to, you're going to base your decision on those five
And
people?
of the tons of emails that I got during the day.
Okay,
And also, there was a post on, Cheryl Goldberg also, and there was also a post on Nextdoor that got tons of approvals from residents. I'm basing it on that.
And I base my decision on the recommendation of our finance director and assistant town manager and town attorney and budget committee, and a statement right here on the town manager's memo. In consultation with the Florida Department of Revenue, in the event that the commission fails to adopt a final millage rate by a majority vote, 3 out of the 5 commissioners, the commission would be in violation of state law. No millage would be adopted and state revenues would be withheld. A budget cannot be adopted without a millage approval. And so it's in
I'll tell you
violation
what,
of our charter.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll support, because I think you sincerely believe that the undergrounding could be compromised, and it's not. I said this at the last meeting, when you and I agreed, or we didn't agree, but I understood what your argument was. I think that, it's off base, and I don't think we're gonna need that funding. And I think, raising taxes on our residents is a bad idea generally, okay? I think that the vice mayor, sat on a commission that raised taxes regularly,
We lowered it.
okay? But I don't wanna sit on a commission that raises taxes.
Don't get reelected the next time. It's very simple. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
You just
Is
put
that the
one
answer?
out there. I'm sorry. I mean, if you don't want to sit somewhere where
They
things are
raise taxes,
happening,
right.
Then you don't participate in that.
Okay, then I think,
I mean, if I feel that way, why did I run for commission? Because I felt that the previous commission was not doing the things that our residents wanted. I came and I sat in the same room several times asking for that park. It never happened. 10 years.
park is happening.
or
We're
more.
talking
But
about
now
raising
it is
taxes.
because this commission is making it happen.
listen,
Okay?
but
The
making
undergrounding of the
taxes
power
go up
lines
is
has been
not-
talked about for 30
Nellie, stay
years.
focused on
It's
the
happening
issue.
now because of this commission. The Abbott Avenue drainage, people have actually been told that that was going to be put on ice. Who says that to residents, that their houses don't matter because I don't want to spend money on your problem that is a government issue? That is not okay. And that's why I sat here. And that's why I walked with you for 2 months, and I thought we were on the same page.
okay, but I'm not on the
And
raising
tonight we're
taxes
not,
page,
but
right.
that you're not raising taxes. You keep viewing it as it is, and it's not.
Not raising
And if
taxes
you
is
wanna,
why
then
the
you can
roll.
talk about it in the Gazette, and you can talk about it on your flyers, and just go tell everybody out there who's the ones who wanted. You just needed to, you had to say yes because there was no other option. That's all. It's very simple.
Okay, that's, I had to raise taxes because there was no other option.
There you go. It's either that or
Uh-huh.
have a mob here of residents that are gonna be
We're-
very upset.
Okay.
We're actually not raising taxes. We're keeping the rate the same. They go up minimal for residents.
Well, we're not raising taxes. When property values go up and you keep the rate the same, the tax bill goes up. And I don't know what planet you're living on, but that's the way it happens.
Minimally, for
Okay,
homestead,
well, you
it's
just said a second
3%.
ago, taxes don't go up. They stay the same. Now you're saying minimally. So you have to choose one or the other.
Charlie, we need to get to some point. You've already.
Well, what I was
The thing is, you've already explained your point. You already made your point. You already addressed your issue. You already explained to us how you feel about this and how you think that this is lowering people's taxes. But people don't care about $100. I personally don't.
First, what is it that
Now, if you're
you-
telling me that
Hold on a
everybody's
second.
gonna be rolling back, then
Hold on a second.
I'm like, well,
Okay,
this
well,
is a
we don't
different story.
necessarily have to follow everybody, but what my question is to you is, what are your specific reasons to have the residents pay more than they did last year?
They're not paying more. It's $100, and then some people, it's
That's
not
more.
even that much.
But that's
There's
more.
residents that have been living here for 30 years on Homestead that pay
You
$2,000
didn't answer my
of taxes
question.
a year because we want to make sure that we have enough money for the undergrounding of the
Do
power
we
lines.
not have enough money?
No, we don't.
How much money do we?
Undergrounding is going to cost about $18 to $20 million, and
And how
we know
much
that
money
already.
do we need for that?
$18 to $20 million. I just said that.
Aren't
We
you gonna-
also
are
want to
we-
do
we're not
the,
gonna pay- we're not
but we
gonna write a
also want to
check?
do the Abbott Avenue drainage, which is going to cost about $4 million.
Okay, we have that
already
money
heard
set aside.
the engineers. The park, they're already telling us it's going to be 4.2
We have that
or
money set
more.
aside?
So these are things that, and then you want to, we have a very healthy amount of money in the bank that we do not want to touch.
But wait a minute, let's go
So we're
back to
gonna
your
be doing-
undergrounding.
and
Let's go
then-
back, hang on, let's go back to your undergrounding, because you said $18 million. Now, are you expecting to write a check for that, or are you gonna borrow that?
Well, obviously, we're gonna borrow that, but
Obviously.
it's borrowed on the money that we collect every year.
Yeah.
Now, right
Okay,
now,
well, hang on a second.
you
Hang on a second.
supported
Hang on a
to
second.
spend $2.5 million, of which we kind of got it lowered to 750, okay, to
Well,
find
I
out
think we all
what
supported that,
if-
didn't we?
Well,
Didn't we?
reluctantly, but okay.
Okay, but I'm just saying, I guess, that was supported because we have residents living in other buildings and we have no idea why that building fell down. I think we have an obligation to find out why the building fell down. But again, you're jumping around subjects. My question to
No,
you
I'm
is,
giving you all my points, all the
No, not-
examples of everything that can
look at,
affect
Nellie, go back
this-
to the undergrounding for a second.
Okay, I'm
okay?
there.
So we've got, how much unencumbered funds do we have right now in the savings account, Jason, generally? What do we have in the bank account?
Obviously, a lot of it changes at the very end of the fiscal year, but we're somewhere in that $16 to $18 million
All right.
unrestricted reserve amount.
Thank you. Okay, so we're in that $16 or $18 million unrestricted amount. Now, what would the annual sort of ballpark this? Let's just assume it's $20 million, okay?
To borrow
To
$20
do the
million.
undergrounding, right?
To borrow $20 million.
And we do it on a 20 or a 30-year note, right? And we pay 4 or 5%. I think that would be high in
I
this
think
market.
that'd be high, too.
Okay, so let's just say we paid 5%, just for fun. And we had a $20 million loan. That would be
Over 30 years, probably-
$1 million a year.
Why would you spread it out
Hang on a
over
second.
30
Okay, hang on a second,
Why
Nellie.
not do it in 10 years?
Nellie, hang on a second.
Hold on, I'm gonna get my mortgage calculator, I'm gonna
I-
tell you that number right now.
That would probably a little bit better, but.
Tell us,
yeah.
typically, what was the amortization on the community center we did last time?
The community center, I don't know, I wasn't here for
10,
that.
12, 15, something like that? Okay, but your payment,
How much is the interest rate, 4%?
If we said it was 5% on 20 million,
Well,
you're
5
gonna pay
is-
$1 million a year in interest and then amortize it.
principal, right.
Right, so assume 2 million a year over,
That's $107,000 a month, so that's.
That's $1.2 million.
$1.2 million a
Yeah,
year.
that's 1.2.
For 30
30
years, you're gonna indebt our town for 30 years.
Nellie, you're
It
jumping
should
all
be
that,
at
wait
no
a
more
minute.
than 10 years.
Okay, well,
Which is at $220,000.
all right, so
That's $2.1 million
what's 2.1 million?
to pay off the undergrounding of the power lines
No,
in
no.
10 years.
Right, but it's how much a year?
That's 200, I'm gonna tell you right now.
It's 2 million a year.
Times 12,
Yeah,
that's
2.2.
$2.5 million.
Okay, it's 2.5 million a year, right. And we currently take in how much a year?
the amount that is budgeted to be put into the reserves is 3 million.
Last year, let me ask you, last year, how much did you put in the savings account? At the tax rate we had?
Based on, because the budget amendments we had related to the park and things like that, we're budgeted to put $1.5 million in the amended budget. for this
Last year.
This current fiscal.
Because we had the park expense.
That was one of the major reasons
Right,
why.
now, if we didn't have the park expense, how much, hold on a second, if we didn't have the park, because we don't have a park every year, how much would we have put in last year?
We had, the original budget was $3.2 million.
Right, so we were saving an additional $3.2 million, and you just said on a 10-year note, the payment would be 2-point-something million, and we'd have an extra $1 million left every year. From the savings, we could put another $1 million a year in our savings account and still do that, okay? So,
That's $656,000 that you would be putting into the bank account.
so the point is that we could leave everything alone, do everything that we want to do, and still add money to our savings account. Thank you. Go ahead.
If I may, yes. So
That,
if you-
excuse me, that's incorrect, because by lowering that millage rate to that 4.1, you're foregoing 700 and how much was it?
You wouldn't
792?
know.
So you're not gonna be
No, no,
putting
no,
a
no.
dime into
Listen,
the bank.
listen,
You're
Nellie.
actually gonna be taking out of the bank.
Nellie, you're wrong, and I'll tell you why.
No, I'm not wrong.
you're
The math
wrong.
is very clear.
Your
and
math
it's-
is not clear. I'll tell you why you're wrong. Jason just said, we used last year as an example. We don't have to do the math. We have last year as an example. Last year, if we take in the same amount of money last year as we do this year, we would have saved, if we weren't doing the park, I think you said $3.5 million.
we're budgeted right now, based on that millage rate, to put $3 million in the bank.
Okay, so $3 million in the bank, and
After
you,
taking the money from the park.
that,
For this year, because there's no park
There's no
expense.
park next
So if you
year.
went to rollback, you would put about
Okay,
2.2 million into the bank.
So now, You just said it would cost 2-point-something million a year to fund the underground with a 10-year amortization, which is a quick payoff. That's fine with me. That's fine with me. And we'd still have, in that case, almost $1 million a year to put into the savings account.
That's incorrect. He just said 2.2 million.
If I- I'll make
You
it
would
very quick.
actually have to take money out of our
Listen, let him talk,
reserves
let him talk.
to pay for the undergrounding because you're short $340,000.
Yeah, I do this for a living, Nellie. I
So do
know.
I.
Yeah, go ahead.
So if we kept the budget as it were at 4.3499, we put $3 million in the bank. So let's say next year, everything being equal.
But hang on a
it's
second.
2
Hang on a second. Hang on a second. That's important because the rate was at 4.3, right?
Yeah.
But property values went up. Okay, so let's talk about what we collected last year and what we could collect this year, given the
That's
rate
what-
we eventually settled on.
That's what I'm saying.
Good, go
Based
ahead.
on the property values, as of for this upcoming budget.
Right.
We will put $3 million in the bank.
Thank you.
Based on 3.499.
Oh.
So under the 2.499. So what that would have is if you ended up adding on to a layer of $2.5 million debt payment, you'd be left with a net $500,000 addition above that, which is a small amount to have as your.
That's at 3.499.
That's at 3.499.
So now do it at the 4.1.
Well, then you'll be in a deficit of $300,000, not including
Didn't I
Champlain
just say
Tower
that?
not paying and the 1.5 million
Jason,
more we're going to come
Didn't
back
I just
for.
say that?
Or Jason.
Hence the reason why I have a mortgage calculator on my phone. Thank
Yeah,
you very much.
Yeah, well, before you get too excited about that, Jason, last year, we put how much into the savings account?
This current fiscal year,
Yeah, this current-
2021, we are budgeted to put about 1.5 million after the amended budget.
Okay, now, and let's say that we hadn't had to do the park this year, which will be this condition next year, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, how much would we have put in if we don't have the park expense?
The original budget was
Can
three.
you let him answer?
Can we call the vote?
No,
The original
well,
budget
call-
was
call-
3 point-
Yeah, listen, hold on, the vice mayor wants to call the vote. Let's call the vote, and then we'll get that over with. Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
The motion is for the resolution as is. Commissioner
is.
Velasquez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Paul,
Yes.
Mayor Burkett.
No. So let's continue the conversation.
Well, we're not continuing the conversation.
You don't want to?
There's nothing to continue to.
All right, well, listen, if you don't want to continue, we can go. You want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'm not gonna make the motion. You go ahead.
Well, you're talking. Go ahead. So
Yes, so we are
So-
budgeted this year to put 3 million. Yeah.
this past year, we're budgeted to, no, but is that with the park or without the park?
You talk about for 2021?
This last year.
This current fiscal year, our original budget was.
Which year includes the park?
There was park funding in 2021. There was also some in 20, I think.
There was funding in 2018.
2018, yeah, there was a couple hundred
It
thousand.
goes
It's like-
back
Yeah, there's
pretty
been
far.
funded over a
But
number of
when
years.
what fiscal year, what's the latest fiscal year?
We're currently in 2021, and we're voting on
No,
2022.
no, what I'm saying, the latest fiscal year, we have all the numbers for it.
No
That we closed the year would be last year, 2020.
Okay, so let's take 2020. Because this is the tax rate for 2021, correct?
Maybe you should get your accountant in here because.
Maybe you should stop insulting, okay?
I'm not insulting.
But it's not good, Nellie, because it doesn't go to a good place.
Now, as we know, the amount put into reserves is a function of not only revenues, but expenses on whether we actually underspend, which often you do. You budget X, you underspend. See, the amount that was actually put into the reserves in 2020
Yeah.
was 3.67 million.
Okay.
The
and
amount-
hang on a second, I got a question.
Yeah.
And that included an expenditure for the park?
Off the top of my head, I don't remember which fiscal year. There were several fiscal years in
Okay.
which there were
But we
park
saved
pieces.
how much, 5?
3.671 million.
And that
the-
was at that current rate, correct? That tax
In
rate?
2020's tax rate was 4.4.
Okay. Okay, so how do we get a millage rate of 4.3 if it's supposedly the same millage rate?
In 2021, it was 3.499.
We're in 2021.
21.
Yeah.
Exactly. We haven't closed the year out. The year won't be closed out till today, but in a
Okay,
few months. We
but
won't
so
have those
you're
final
saying for
results.
2020, when we paid our tax bills, the rate was 4.3 or 4.4?
4.4.
Okay, so that rate right there is a lower rate
Yes,
than
you
what we
lowered
had
the rate-
last year?
Yes, you lowered the rate last year from 4.4 to 4.3499.
Okay. So for the last year that we've recorded,
We closed the
okay,
books,
we
2020.
we closed the books,
Yeah.
right? We saved $3.5 million.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Now, if we continued this year, okay, with the same amount of revenue that we had last year, would we not save the same thing? Or have our expenditures gone up?
Yes, the revenues and expenses change and vary.
Correct, correct.
Vary every year.
And I
So
know
like I said, the
that-
budgeted amount for this fiscal year '21 was 3.2 million.
Right.
But after budget amendments and several other adjustments.
Which
we're
include the Kilsheimer bill?
No, 1.57 million. That doesn't include any CTS-related costs, and you'll be getting in November a year-end closeout budget amendment that will add probably 1.5 to 2 million to that number. Though most of it will be reimbursed through FEMA, so you can kind of net that out,
Right.
as it were. So the actual expense will probably come in. We'll probably be about break even when it comes to the amount being put in the bank in 2020 related to the CTS.
But not the $2.5 million that we want to spend to find out, correct?
2 point, no,
That's
we're
not
we're
going
not-
into that.
We haven't decided to do that
Well,
yet.
but you already spent 750 plus 450 that you already
We
put out
already
there.
spent.
The authorized
all
amount for KC Engineering was up to $750,000 to do everything but non-destructive testing.
Right.
And then we'll be coming in October with immediately a budget amendment for probably about 1.5 million immediately. So if you are at the 3 million, if you kept the budget the way it is right now, you just said, let's approve the current millage, you put 3 million in the bank, immediately we're gonna be asking in October for 1.5 million, and that's the upper limit amount. KC, and
What's the
that's not
1.5 million for?
all of the destructive testing, which is the
Oh,
really expensive
okay.
piece.
Well,
Again,
listen,
that's the upper
yet-
limiting amount.
That's yet to be determined, okay?
That is absolutely not to be determined,
Right.
but it's important.
But listen, it's something to have on the radar.
Yes.
So we basically, you are proposing that we were gonna have $3.5 million in the bank after everything, accepting that
3 million.
3 million, okay. Now, what's the difference in revenue collected between the 4.3 and the rollback rate?
The revenue difference is $768,000.
$768.
Correct.
So what is the difference between 3.3 million, is it, and 768?
3
Is it-
million, I mean? It would be-
What is the savings for?
Your savings would go from 3 million to about 3.22 million.
2.2.
I'm sorry, 2.22 million.
Okay.
3 million minus that, yes.
So the next year, at the rollback rate, instead of saving 3 million, we'd save 2.2.
Correct.
Right.
Approximately, yes.
Okay. That's good that's what I wanted to understand. Okay.
And as I said, we will be coming immediately in October asking for 1.5 million more for destructive testing
Right.
in 2 weeks.
So what do we do now?
Well, what we do now we understand that even at the rollback rate, we're saving $2.2 million a year. That's what we understand.
Undergrounding is going to cost 2.5.
What?
So you're at
Wait, the undergrounding is gonna cost, the undergrounding, first of all, the undergrounding, if you do a 10-year amortization, and it costs $20 million, and we have to pay 5%, okay? That would eat up the savings. The savings.
new money that goes into the bank, not the money that's already in there. This is the future money that the town collects that goes into the
Right,
bank.
well, that's right. And
We're
so,
using it to
and we could use that
improve our
savings,
infrastructure.
that we could use that annual savings to pay the entire annual bill for the undergrounding, completely, and still pay all of our budgeted items that we have,
No,
without,
you would be at a deficit of
Because?
$345,000.
Because?
You go back to the rollback rate.
no, well, hold on a second. Hold on a second. He just said, if you go back to the rollback rate, okay, you're gonna have $2.2 million to put in the savings account. Did you not say that?
Correct.
Okay, great. Now, if you borrowed the money for 10 years and you paid a high interest rate and you wanted to make those payments without raising taxes, you'd end up being obligated to pay about $2.5 million a year. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that's where you're getting a $300,000 deficit?
Correct.
All right, okay. So in order to fix that,
Which that money
Hang on a
would have to
second.
come out from our reserves that have been saved in the bank, that's coming out of those 16 to 18 million that we already have in the bank.
Right, well, that's you could do that for 40 years. You could pay that for 40 years. 300,000 goes into 18 million 40 times. So you could basically, how many times does 365,000 go into 18 million?
You're taking the loan out for 10 years, so you would only be taking it out for 10
Well, I'm just saying, that's what I'm saying.
That's $3 million that you would be taking out of our reserves and putting out one dime for the next 10 years. Okay, so let's analyze that.
Yeah.
You're taking the $300,000 out of let's say
To
we have
subsidize the
$16 million.
payment, maybe.
Okay, let's say we have 16 million. So you're taking $300,000 every year for the next 10 years. That 3 times 10 is $3 million.
Well, do it on
So
an
now
annual
those-
basis. Do it on an annual
Okay,
basis.
well, but still, you're
it
not
on
gonna
an
be
annual
putting a
basis.
penny into that account for the next 10 years. You're actually gonna be withdrawing
Well,
$3
if you-
million
if-
out of that account for the next 10, obviously, if we keep that rate. But if we go up to a different rate next year, then obviously that's not gonna be the case.
Correct.
But regardless, why are you going to allow that to happen when we're gonna start our undergrounding next year, and this is gonna be the money that we're gonna start using that? And then also, for any bank to give us money, they're gonna base it on that number. They're not gonna base it on, oh, we're nice people and people here have money and we're not gonna go into a deficit. No, they're gonna base it on our millage rate.
No, they're not.
Isn't that correct, Jason? On the money that our town receives?
They're gonna base it
is
on the
how they
revenue.
base, the banks base what they're gonna lend us to be able to get this geo bond? And
They're
get
gonna
the
look, they're gonna look at
undergrounding?
we're not bond rated by any of the 3 major rating agencies, so it'll be a private placement. But yes, they'll look at our, as if we're a business.
But that's understood. That's
Yeah.
understood.
So let me ask, so then if we fail to pass the budget tonight, they're gonna look at that too?
Oh, yeah, of course, we're gonna look like,
Try to get a bond and they're gonna look at that?
Didn't the US as a whole get a less credit rating because of one of these issues?
Well, I'll tell you what, guys, that is, it's all about understanding why we need to raise taxes. Okay, so I don't think we have an urgent need today, as we sit here with $18 million in the bank, as we sit here in our financial state, I don't think this is a number one priority, because we have the money to do the undergrounding, we have the money to pay the bills, we have the money to do the Abbott Avenue, we have the money to do the park, and raising taxes is not necessary right now, okay? And you say they're not raising taxes, but what you're doing is, you're saying you want the town to collect more from our residents this year than we collected last year, and that's raising taxes in my mind.
Charlie, I think you're wrong.
I appreciate that.
And I'm
I
gonna
know.
tell you why you're wrong. Because we lost my train of thought there. Okay, just go ahead.
Jason, if we use the rollback rate, we collect the same amount of money generally that we collected last year. Is that correct?
Approximately, you end up collecting about 90.
Just answer the
About
question.
$98,000
What does the term rollback rate
Collect
mean,
less.
and why does it exist?
It's the attempt by the property appraiser to get the municipality back to approximately the same amount
Where they were
of
last
total
year.
revenues
Right.
collected.
Right.
Based on, but again, there's many other variables related to value adjustment board and other
Correct.
calculations.
Correct. And that's what the rollback is.
Listen, first of all, we're talking about doing not just the undergrounding. Let's say the undergrounding is a 20 million. The Abbott Avenue drainage is gonna cost about $4 million. Obviously, right now, if we have to put more money into the park, that comes from what we have at the moment. Let's not even count that. But these are two big ticket items. We're talking almost $25 million, okay?
Where do we stand on
Between
that?
the two of them.
Did we fund the plans for that? We did, didn't we?
The design, yes. We haven't
Yes,
approved
Abbott
the final.
Avenue is funded not out of your general fund, which is property taxes. It's funded out of the stormwater. Though we do have several other capital projects. We have a 5-year capital improvement program. So again, there wasn't much in this upcoming fiscal year. But in future years, because we were talking about those averages, you're basically assuming that there's no increases to labor, parts, supplies, and things like that, and then no additional capital projects, which of course we know every year we do have some, such as the I think it's next year, the year after, there's the $1 million improvement we want to do to Surfside Boulevard. I mean, there are other capital projects that'll be coming up on the horizon, which would need funding for that. And that's why you often have
You know,
that.
and
You know-
this comes at the same time where we've tried to reduce the water bills, and the vice mayor at the last meeting, I think, said that we pay exactly for water what we charge, which is absolutely wrong. We pay double what we charge.
Yeah,
So,
but that's a whole different.
but it is a whole different
that's-
discussion, but it
that's a
never
whole
gets
different
done. You see, the
discussion.
problem is
But
the
then that's
residents
something, Charlie,
never
that we
get
should
any
have put
relief.
in the budget.
It's nice, but it never gets
Well,
done
it was
because
there
this
last
this
year,
group
and
up
it was
here-
voted down because
most-
of their saying that it was something with COVID,
Well,
that with the
not
unknowns
really.
of COVID.
Okay, but the point is that
We
and
should have
again,
brought it up this year
Well, we
and
should
lowered
have,
it.
but we don't give any relief to our residents.
Okay,
They're
well,
paying
then let's
too
lower the
much for the
ta-
water bills, and here we are, we're gonna ask them to pay more this year because you're gonna leave the tax rate at the same rate, but their property value went up, so they're
Charlie,
gonna pay more.
75%
Jason a
of our
question,
residents,
please.
1 second, Tina, just give me 1 second. 75% of our residents on November 4th of last year said yes to undergrounding. That's huge. 75%
That's
of
not
our
part of this
registered
conversation. We
voters.
agree. We're all
But
part of
that,
that.
yes,
We
it
all
is
support
part
that.
of this
Not
because we need this money
We don't.
to be able to do that.
We
Well, you
don't.
may
We have-
think we
I'd like to
don't, but
ask
we do.
Jason a
We have
question.
the money.
I'd like to ask Jason a
We
question.
have the
please.
money. We don't need to raise taxes.
So Jason, okay, so the vote failed. So what happens now? What is this gonna cost the town if we fail to pass a budget tonight? Because it's already after 6, the P and Z people are here.
Well, the town attorney just
Okay,
left,
but look, scare tactics are not gonna help us, Tina, so
Well, it's
let's
not a
just,
scare
it
tactic.
is, let's just
No, it's
say
not. I
it's the
wanna
end
know
of the
what's gonna
world.
happen.
It's the end of the
What
world.
kind of fines do we
Okay,
face?
well, listen.
We need to stay
the
until
bottom
we
line, then
come
if
to
we're gonna face fines, then you need to get on board with the rollback rate, okay? So get on
I think
board.
there's 2 people that support.
But I'm
the
just saying,
rate.
get on board.
No, why don't you?
Why don't,
you?
no, because I'm not gonna raise taxes.
Okay, I
So-
think the
Not raising
PNC is gonna be
taxes. You
coming
are.
in, so I'm gonna make the motion right now to, no, I'm sorry, Jason, but we're not
Where's
gonna,
Lily?
we're not gonna be
The town
hijacked.
attorney.
I'm
Lily,
gonna make the
d-
motion
to
to
adjourn.
end this meeting
All
right
right, is there
now.
a second?
Please do not.
Is there a second?
I'm sorry, but this will be the mayor's fault that we don't get to a consensus here.
actually
It
your
is your
fault.
fault because you have 2 commissioners. We have Eliana Salzhauer, our other commissioner, she doesn't want that rollback rate. We have Charles Kessel here that doesn't want the rollback rate either. You're the only person of this commission that wants this rollback
That's-
rate.
well-
So we will have to wait until the commission is here in its entirety. Unless Kessel shows up right now, Eliana unfortunately can't be here because she's out of town, out of state. So then I'm sorry, but I'm sorry. Then it is what it is. We'll get fined whatever it is.
If I can
We
make
got
just one.
plenty of money.
If I can make one statement.
Yeah.
If that is the will, if the commission that wanted to wait until the next commission meeting, the millage will be set at 0. And not only at 0
But
for
you
the
see,
next year.
but you see the point, that yeah, well, that's pretty bad.
Thank you to you, Mr.
No, thank you to you, because you could vote, guys, again.
You know what, as a matter of fact, I'll put it in the Gazette.
Well, I think you should. I think we'll both make the argument, and listen,
I will put it in the Gazette.
but the bottom line is, something would be better than nothing, wouldn't it?
Well, the something would be the 33499.
Wouldn't it? Wouldn't the something be better than nothing?
Okay, so then what is that something?
The something is the rollback rate.
No, it isn't the
Yeah, it is.
rollback rate. We are not going to do the
Why
rollback
not?
rate. Because that does not
Why would
benefit
you,
our
why would you
residents.
put the city in a precarious position?
Why would you put the city in a precarious position when we had
still- listen,
75% of Surfside voters
the issue-
said yes to the undergrounding of the power lines, and you are here
Nobody's-
trying to tell them that we will not have the money to do this because you want to go back to
That's
a
a
rollback
giant
rate
lie.
that takes $100 off my
A
tax
giant
bill.
lie.
No, it isn't.
It
It
is.
is. It's not
It's
a giant lie.
lie.
You're here is stating that.
It's a
And
giant
you've
lie.
made no compelling argument
for the
to make
past-
the point of your 4.1%.
But you
It's
know
not
what?
going to happen.
4.1% is a
Okay.
rollback rate.
You have 4 commissioners. Unfortunately, 2 of them are not
So
here.
you don't have 4 commissioners.
But 4 of them that have
Okay.
manifested that they
Okay,
want
have
the
they talked to you?
4.349.
Have they talked to you
Well,
about what they're
they've
gonna vote?
mentioned-
Did they
they've
break the
mentioned
sunshine
here-
law with you?
Oh, not with me.
All right,
but
well, then
they've
stop
mentioned
tell-
it here.
stop talking about it.
They mentioned it here on the last time that
They-
we were here.
okay, but-
Jason, wasn't the 4.3499 already approved at the last time?
Listen, guys,
Not last week, the
listen,
previous time.
let
the
me just-
first budget hearing.
Let me just
Okay,
say
so
It was
this.
there you go.
unanimous. The mayor voted for it at the first budget
Oh,
hearing.
he also voted for
voted
it at
for
the
it.
first time.
I don't know. I don't know about
Oh, well,
that.
yes,
I don't
we
know
do.
about that.
It's on it's public
We
record.
can ask the clerk
Yeah.
for the record.
But I voted for 4.3.
Yes, you did.
Yes,
Huh?
Mr. Mayor. It was unanimous, all four.
Can you
Yeah, but
kindly-
that's because we were
We're
told
looking it
we
up.
were going to wait for the numbers and we could change it, wasn't it?
No.
Wasn't it?
I'm
You can
sorry,
always-
Charlie.
We
Yeah.
could change it?
You can always
Or we
change it
couldn't
up to-
change it?
You can always lower it up to today.
Right, okay, so that's the point. The point is that, guys, let me just make this argument for you before you go. And that is, if you vote for the rollback rate, everything keeps going, okay? I'm not shutting it down because I'm gonna vote for a rate. What you're saying is you want a higher rate, and if you don't get your higher rate, you're gonna shut everything down. So I'm saying, you see,
It's very crafty, Charlie.
We're not
That's
voting for a
very
higher rate.
crafty.
We're voting to
You're
keep
So
the rate
you're
the
gonna
same.
be
You're
going
voting-
We're voting
against
to keep the
all the
rate the
residents
same.
that came
you're
to this
voting for, there
commission
were
meeting here
five.
today.
There were five.
I don't care if there's even one of them.
I know, but there were five.
One or five
Okay, there were
came
five.
here and
But
expressed that they
I'll
want
bet-
to keep the rollback
I'll
rate.
bet you
And now
there are
there's
a lot
more.
more.
There's other residents that just came in here would like to speak.
Okay.
And tell us, Horace, kindly
Horace,
come up to
yeah.
the, if you don't mind, Mr. Mayor.
I don't mind at all.
Horace, can you kindly express your,
Good evening, Horace Henderson, 9195 Collins Ave, Unit 706. The United States is being overtaxed, and there's no reason to increase the taxes here in Surfside. So no, I do not think we should go higher than 4.3.
oh no, we're not going higher than 4.3.
That's,
No, the cap
We're talking, Horace, what we're talking about is the difference between, there's two options here tonight.
We're not
One-
going higher.
One is the rollback rate, which basically says,
Puts $100 in your pocket.
okay, what it says, it says, basically, the town collected a certain amount of money last year. Okay, property values went up, and tax rates, okay, stay the same, people pay more.
Yep.
So what the rollback rate does is it says, okay, well, property values went up on paper, okay, people didn't make any more money, but their tax bill went up, okay? Hey, listen,
Sorry,
Mr. Platt,
I'm here.
I don't know how long these commissioners are gonna allow you to sit here and interrupt the meeting. Okay, stop talking, okay? But the rollback rate says we're gonna collect the same amount from our residents that we collected last year.
Right.
Okay? And if you keep the current rate, what that does is as property values went up, taxpayers are gonna pay more in taxes just because the value of their property went up. And I'm saying, listen, they already pay enough taxes already. Okay, the town has enough money to function. Now, with due respect, Nellie thinks that we need more because of the underground. Okay, I appreciate that. I disagree. I respectfully disagree. I think we're well-funded. We've got $18 million in the bank. Okay, I think we can do it. Okay, and I don't think we need to raise taxes. So that's kind of what the discussion is tonight.
And
Do
my-
we go to the rollback rate, which gives the town the same money they had last year? Or do we go to the same rate, which means that because the property values went up, everybody in Surfside pays a little more?
$100
Okay,
more
so-
on some
so my-
cases.
Well,
So my contention is that we're going to go into a recession in the United States, and our values are going to come back down. And so I don't want to be paying more taxes for the next semi-odd years, even $100, because it's still more taxes on top of all the taxes that Mr. Biden is putting in my pocket. So I don't want any more taxes.
thank you.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, so what I'm saying, ladies, is that we can throw the whole thing in the garbage can tonight, or we can agree to go to the rollback rate and keep the thing moving forward and do the responsible thing. Okay, I'm just not raising taxes. I'm not going to demand more from our residents, that's
Well,
all.
If I could say something?
Yeah.
I mean, in my 5 years historically, the tax base went up when new properties came on board. There was a year or two where the tax rate didn't go up, it went down, and we had to compensate that. And I think we were able to keep the rate the same. We were able to lower the rate from when you were mayor, and, well, actually, I wasn't on there. They
Well,
had it
actually, it went
higher.
dramatically higher
Yeah, well,
after I left.
I wasn't there, but when I came on the commission, we were able to lower the rate or keep the rate the same. What we're asking is, I believe what Commissioner Velasquez and I are asking is to keep the rate the same, because we don't know what's gonna happen next year. If the property values go down, that means the town will get less revenue. And so
Okay, the property values haven't gone down based upon this expectation.
they
We've
change
just-
every year. Sometimes
Yeah,
they go
okay.
down, sometimes they
in-
go up.
In what world do property values go down? In a depression, okay? But so
They've gone
far.
down here in the last 5 years.
Well,
They did
anyway,
go down
I
one year.
contend, okay, that if property values go down and we get ourselves in an emergency, we'll come back to a meeting like this and we'll have a discussion and we will be forced to raise the millage rate because the residents will understand that we need to continue to fund at the level we're funding at. But right now, we've got millions and millions and millions in the bank. We've got our projects funded. We can fund our undergrounding and we can make a change later. But I think the most irresponsible thing to do would be to walk out of here and do nothing.
Well,
Charlie, I clearly explained to you how much this was gonna cost. I gave you the numbers. We ran it through the mortgage calculator. I gave you all the numbers.
But you're plugging in the wrong numbers.
No, 20 million is 20 million. You
You're
can't
plugging in-
change
you're
that.
plugging in the wrong
Okay?
numbers.
You put the number of the principal. You put the rate.
First of all, you
put the
decided
actual
to use
years.
5%. You decided
That's
to
what
use 10
Jason
years.
would-
No, I suggested that to Jason.
Well,
Jason,
why
it
should
would be
we have our
less.
town in debt for 30 years like it's a
We
mortgage?
don't have to. We don't have to.
But
you know
that's
what?
why
If I could
we don't
finish-
want to
if I could
go
finish
that
what I
high.
was saying
I'm
is
sorry,
that,
Tina, go
no,
ahead.
I'm sorry, but by keeping the rate the same, that gives us that cushion that if it drops.
You guys, I'm not
If I
gonna-
could finish what I'm saying, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
That gives us that cushion. If the rate should drop next year, the property values drop, we would be able to supplement our budget through the reserves, because we would have reserves. By not putting money in the reserves, you're taking away money that we would have in times of need.
Okay, we're taking money away from our property owners for us. And next year, if we have this, that's what
town.
we are the town. Okay, but
No.
we are we're making decisions
No,
for the
we
town.
make decisions for the town, for the
Okay.
good of the town, and this is for the good of the
Okay,
town.
but the point is, Tina, if there's a recession next year, we'll have this discussion next year. Okay, right now, there's not a recession. Okay, you guys, I'm not voting to add more money to our bills of our residents, okay? And by the way, by the way,
He's grandstanding.
it's irresponsible to walk out of here and not have any tax rate.
I'm not walking out. What do you propose? I made a motion, it had a second, and it failed. So what do you
Mr.
propose?
Mayor.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, we are in a difficult situation here because we need a unanimous vote of the three of you.
Yeah.
We have two commissioners that are out. I think there's need for a compromise situation. Mr. Green, do you suggest any potential compromise that would
Well, if I
appease
can,
the-
yeah, if I can, I mean, they're just trying to facilitate, here. Last time, there was a discussion, it was almost unanimous, but there was a thought of it, was the 4.2 that Commissioner Velasquez had offered. And in the 14-year view we had from 2008, Mr. Mayor, the lowest we had in that view was back to 4.25. Those are both viable options. And that,
Nice how you could just,
and that number, that
Flip it
4.2,
around.
4.25, would get you around that 350,000 being added to reduction from the difference between the rollback and that, which would be about the CTS number. Without that, you would get back to about the same rollback zero. So
is
it's
it
a
true
possible.
that in 2009, the rate was 4.2?
No, in fiscal year 2009, the rate was 4.7332.
4.9?
Much higher than 4.3.
4.73, yeah, 4.73,
4.73.
yeah,
Okay.
322.
Okay.
Listen, I propose then let's take out the 499, put 4.3. That's lowering it.
That's some proposal.
It's
now.
something.
That's brilliant.
Do we have a motion on that? I motion a 4.3. There you go.
A second.
You mean, you're gonna make the same motion?
No.
But the previous motion was 4.3499.
Oh, so
now
you're
we're
gonna
taking
knock
out
off
the
a few points,
499
right?
And keeping the 4.3.
And that's how you plan to do your budget, by just sort of making up numbers?
It's not making up numbers, it's
Compromising.
compromising.
No, I didn't. Actually, it didn't make up numbers.
You said you wanted to
The
lower
number
the
is
tax.
very much tied to something, and what it's tied to is what our residents paid last year and not giving them an increase. That's what it's tied to. And by the way, anybody that doesn't know what what the rollback rate is.
And how would you be raising houses if you lower the millage rate?
Hold on a second.
Because you've
Well,
offered residents to raise houses, and you said you were gonna bring
Okay.
that to the commission.
I'm going to, this is coming next month.
So if these houses cost $100,000 or more, where are we getting that money?
Right, we'll figure it out.
Well, that's, right there, that's 8 houses that you can raise with not lowering the millage rate.
Yeah, well, listen, if I thought you guys would allocate that money right now, I'd be happy.
It hasn't been presented to us.
I didn't think, exactly, why are you bringing it up then? So,
Because we had a resident here in the commission the last time. saying
Commissioner,
that
please speak into the
she-
mic.
Because we had a resident here in the commission last time saying that she was approached and that this was something that was pretty much a reality, when that has never been brought to this commission.
How can it be a reality?
Well, she even
How
got
can-
paperwork and stuff. I mean,
Well, she's got information.
it's not information. She had more than just information.
No, she had information, so that's what she had.
So there's another motion and second.
There is, okay, you wanna call the question? Call the question, please, call the roll.
Madam Attorney, do we have to open to the public as a public hearing?
We heard from the public on the subject of the millage, call the question.
That was on the
please.
previous wrestle.
Is the
On the
Yes,
previous
the
motion.
It's the same,
But
What
it's
is the
different motion.
4.3?
it's a different motion, but it's the same resolution.
Yeah, Mr. Green, can you recalculate the numbers based on the 4.3 and announce it into the record, please?
Thank you, that's a good point.
Well, I'm sorry, but residents are here. Can we call this question then?
He's
I
doing-
just have to read something in the
doing some
record prior to
research.
the vote. Okay, thank you. So based on the motion, which is a 4.3 millage, that would be an increase of 4.76% over the rolled back rate, and just 4.76%, which would represent a $611,000 difference.
Yes, and could you announce what the rollback rate is?
Thank you. And the versus the rollback rate, which is 4.1046.
Let me just add this as just a little flavor to the discussion. You know, it's funny, when I left office 10 years ago, the former mayor that followed me was promising and that all the new development would relieve the residents and give them relief on taxes. And all that happened was the millage rate continued to go up. So there was really no relief. And if you looked at the amount of money, and Nellie, you may remember this during the campaign, but I don't know. But if you look at the amount of revenue that this town collected 10 years ago and the amount of revenue that this town collects now because of all these new condominium developments and all the development and all the increase in prices, it's staggering. It's staggering. And where has all that money gone? Okay, no, some of it's in the bank, but a lot, don't be sorry, it's all right, don't be sorry. A lot of it is been, basically spent. So a lot of it's been saved, a lot of it's been spent, but we're dealing with a lot of money. And the idea that we will continue to slowly, incrementally, tax our residents more, okay, by not giving them the benefit of the appreciation in their homes. You see, when their home goes up by 20%, their taxes go up by 20%, okay? And that's not fair to the residents. What happens is the rollback rate is meant to equalize.
What, whose property is going up 20%?
Okay, I'm just saying, as an example,
Your property
every-
goes up 3%.
okay, every year,
Maybe that's in a different state.
okay, we're talking about overall.
I'm sorry, I don't understand. Where is it that this is the 20%?
Okay, I'm not saying this 20%, I'm giving an
Here
example.
in the state of Florida, it's 3% if you have homestead, 10% if you don't.
Yeah.
So
okay.
where is 20%?
I'm just giving an
Well,
example
no,
of
you're-
what happens.
That's not even an example. That's not even hypothetical.
No, it's the math.
You
It's
should
just
give a
understanding
fact,
math.
Charlie.
All right, let's go with the 10. Let's say it's 10%, okay? Make everybody happy. Okay, if the property values go up 10% and there are non-homesteaded people, their tax bill goes up 10%. Okay?
That's the cost of being an investment. then they can also in
Okay.
turn charge their
Now-
tenants more money.
Now, if you're a homestead,
It's all a chain.
your taxes go up 3%.
This is like saying, for example, in New York, 10 years ago, a building was worth 100,000
I'm-
and the rents were 800. Now that same building is worth $2.5 million and that same rent is now $2,500.
The problem for residents is they're not charging rent, they're just paying higher taxes, okay? So it's not, that New York example, not quite right. What happens is, basically, if your taxes go up 10%, okay, your bill goes up 10%, and the tax authority makes an additional 10% because the taxes went up 10%.
But Charlie, we're just Surfside. That applies if you are taking the entire city's rollback.
It
But you're
applies to
just-
Surfside's portion too.
But that's $100.
Okay,
That
so,
means
so tell the
absolutely
residents that
nothing.
tell the small houses that you're okay with raising their taxes again by $100. Tell them that.
We have the percentage. It was five
Okay.
point, I think it was 5.76, and now Jason said the new
Guys,
percentage.
let's get back
The
to,
new percentage is 4.76, if we go with Nellie's
Okay.
proposal.
4.7?
That's the percentage over the rollback. 76, 4.76.
Sorry,
You
I
just,
think.
it's right there on the screen.
But,
It's
but-
4.76
Okay. It
over
is-
the rollback, so
it's-
it's not
but it-
10%, it's not 20%, as
oh,
you've
you
been
mean
saying.
as a percentage?
Tina, it's
Yes.
clear
Oh,
that
as a
we're not gonna
percentage.
get anywhere here.
Well, we're not gonna get anywhere if you want-
To end this meeting right now,
Do you
and
wanna
that's it,
second that?
because we
No,
have
there's
many
a- there's a
residents that are
motion
here
on
for
the
the planning
table.
and zoning,
There's-
and they need to have
Okay,
their
but
stuff
that,
heard.
and again, I
There's
think
a
it's
motion already
irresponsible,
on the
but
table.
Okay, so then
call
let's-
the question on the
It
motion
is
on the
what it is.
table,
You can
please.
talk about it on the
Commissioner
Gazette.
Velasquez,
Yes,
Vice Mayor Paul,
Yeah, this is the motion for the 4-3.
4-3,
Correct.
yes.
Yes.
Mayor Burkett.
No.
Now I wanna make a motion to end this meeting right
Okay.
now.
You want
Commissioner,
to second that? Okay,
Velasquez.
listen, Tina
Well, then
wants
I'm
to be
gonna be leaving.
responsible.
Can I have another, can
All
I have
right.
another point?
Let her, listen, that's a choice. Okay, well, I think we're done then.
Can't continue, no quorum.
Right. Sorry, folks.
we have no quorum, we have not adjourned, so I think the proper action is to recess this meeting and to continue.
Do you want to make a motion to recess?
Ken, there's no quorum.
Who does it? Madam Attorney?
Mayor, there's no quorum to take action, but the
we
meeting
take a
has not been
recess?
adjourned. We'll call it a recess,
And make a
it'll be
phone call?
continued.
All
Unless
right.
we can get Commissioner Velasquez to please come back into the room. Why don't we take a recess?
5-minute break?
5 minutes.
Yeah, see if she's left the building.
Someone run after her. I apologize.
To reconvene the meeting. Madam Clerk, is there anything we need to do? Do we need to call the roll again?
Hold on, Mayor, you're on? Mayor,
Yep.
yeah, let me call the roll
All
real
right,
quick.
thank you.
Vice Mayor, sorry, Mayor Burkett,
Here?
Vice Mayor Paul,
Here,
Commissioner Velasquez,
I'm here.
Okay,
Commissioner Salazar and Commissioner Kessel are absent. Mayor, you have a quorum.
thank you. Thank you for coming back, Commissioner. I have a proposal that I wanted to make to you, and that is that, you know, at the last meeting, you had offered 4.2, and you felt strongly about that. That's good, and I respect that. And I had offered the rollback rate, and I felt strongly about that. I propose we meet in the middle, okay? And then hopefully Tina will come along, and we can get it done.
4.2 was the middle.
No, no, 4.2 is your proposal. You,
4.2
no, no.
was the middle between
I never,
4.3 and
I voted against it.
Commissioner, please speak into the mic.
Okay, I'm just saying, I voted against it, that was your proposal, and all I'm saying is that I'm gonna try to meet you halfway, because I think that it's a de minimis amount, but it's a way that we keep moving forward and we don't act irresponsibly here, because it's irresponsible to get up and walk out.
No, it isn't.
It is,
I'm
but I'm trying to make a deal
supporting the
here.
voices of my residents,
Okay,
and they want the
okay,
4.3499.
but that's,
I
pa-
tried to
that's water under
compromise
the
at
bridge.
4.3.
That's
I
water.
compromised the last time,
Nellie.
middle between 4.3
Nellie.
and 4.1,
I
which
just
was
made you a
4.2.
I just said, listen,
And what-
you came at the last meeting and you were happy with 4.2.
Okay, so then let's put it at 4.2.
There you go. So I was at the rollback rate. So what I'm proposing is that we try to split the difference and meet in the middle, okay? And then we could ask the vice mayor if she's willing to go there.
but 4.2 is the middle. I didn't want to go to 4.2 last week,
I
but I
appre-
did that thinking we would get consensus.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But we all do things, okay? We all have to compromise. My position,
What is the number that you're proposing then?
it's in the middle between your number
So you
and my
want
number.
less than 4.2.
In the middle between your, no? All right, well,
Sorry, Charlie. I think 4.2
that's all right. So I know what you
is
think,
the middle between 4.3 and 4.1.
but that's your number.
It's not my number.
You
But
came
it's
up
the
with that
middle.
number.
I
You
said-
proposed it.
It's the middle.
Well, because it was the middle of
It's-
the two numbers.
Yeah, but you know what? It still raises taxes.
Okay, so what you're telling me is because I proposed it, it's just not good.
No, I'm saying it's,
Because, no, because if I would have
didn't hear me.
proposed
I said, you
4.25, then because you would have been proposing 4.2, and it was you who came up with the number, it would have been okay.
That's wrong.
But just because I proposed 4.2, it's not okay.
that's wrong. So
No,
here's
I'm
what's
sorry,
right.
but
Here's
no.
what's right. What's right is you proposed 4.2.
residents that came to this commission what they want.
Okay, well,
That's
listen,
what's right.
the 5 that came, you want to give what they
They're
want.
not just 5. This is like the
Commissioner?
same garbage that the previous commission was saying, the vocal minority. Well, we know what the vocal minority did.
We have
It
other
took out the
people.
entire commission with the exception of Tina because we supported her. So no, this is not a vocal minority.
Okay, I didn't say vocal minority anyway. Those are not my words.
Minority of 5 is.
Okay, I didn't say minority. I said there were 5 people here. And I think we have another person that spoke on it that went the opposite way, okay? So, I'm proposing we compromise, we meet in the middle, and we get it.
Everything in the middle is the 4.2.
No, that's not meeting in the middle.
Then I guess, then please don't call me back until October 12th. I'm telling you, Charlie,
You-
4.2 is the same thing that, it's the middle of the two.
Commissioner, please speak into the mic. Sorry.
4.2 is the middle of the two.
Okay, but it doesn't, there's no,
It may
the
not be what
basis.
you want, it may not be what I want.
It is what you want. You
It's not
proposed
what
it.
I want.
It is, you proposed it.
I want 4.3499.
You proposed 4.2, you wanted
But because
it.
I was trying to compromise with you on the last occasion. And that's why I proposed the 4.2.
Well, I didn't know that.
Because it was in the middle of the two.
I did not know that.
That's not
And-
what
and
I
that's why-
wanted.
and that's why I seconded it and accepted it.
I wanted 4.399.
So you wanted you wanted 4.3 from the beginning?
Yes.
Oh, okay, so you wanted,
But you,
all right.
and I knew that you were not going to go for the 4.3. We didn't have the third person
Mm-hmm.
because Eliana's not here and Kessel's not here.
Well,
So
listen.
I said, let's do it in the middle of the two rates. You want 4.1, we want 4.3, let's meet in the middle,
You-
which is 4.2. That's was my reasoning from the beginning.
And I supported
Okay.
it because
But
it was a
there-
compromise and we wanted to move on
But
and
ag-
pass the budget.
Okay, but let's pass the budget. Let's pass the budget, okay? But there is no, in my mind, justification for charging our residents more this year than last
Okay,
year.
so you could put that in your Gazette,
I will,
and you could put that in your newsletter too,
I will.
and pass it around when you go for campaigning too.
I
Mayor,
will.
if I may, what is your proposed millage rate?
It's the difference between the 4.2 and the rollback rate. What is that?
It's not gonna happen.
4.1523.
Sorry? Here's the
Four-
number right here.
The difference between 4.2 and the rollback rate would end up being at a 4.1523.
There you go. That's it.
And the difference between the two, 4.2 and 4.15, is around $150,000 we're talking.
Okay. Which is what percentage of the budget? The entire budget? What difference does it make? That makes a lot of difference.
Point one,
Point what?
yeah, a fraction of a
A
percent.
fraction of a percentage. Okay? So, you know, it's a teeny tiny.
Charlie, I understand that this is an ego thing for you, and I would really like for you to stop doing that. To
Actually,
kindly
I could say that about
allow
you.
No, it
It's
isn't.
a very much an ego
I
thing.
was trying to be compromising here. I was trying to go
Well, then do
between
it.
you and the, no, because I have several residents here that want 4.3. I have tons of residents that have already texted me that they want 4.3499.
You don't
I have
think-
tons of residents that have emailed me during the whole day
And you
that
don't
they want
think-
4.399.
you don't think there
I have
are
several
residents-
residents on Nextdoor of a
Okay,
posting that was put there
but
that they want the
you
4.399.
don't think there are
But yet I'm
residents-
here trying to negotiate with you at the middle
Okay, that-
point, and you're wanting to go below the middle point.
You don't think there are
It's not
residents that don't
right.
want to pay more in taxes?
$20?
You
more?
think they want to pay more?
Man, if we need to, listen, if we're suffering for 20
Well, yeah,
bucks, seriously,
But
I think
no,
we're in the
seriously,
wrong country.
you're demanding they pay more money.
No, I'm not demanding they pay more money.
Well, that's what your
It's
proposal does.
$20 to
Okay.
get the undergrounding of the power lines that we all want. Does anybody want here a power line to fall on your house?
Oh,
Or,
boy.
oh, wait,
Oh, boy.
better yet, on one of the flooded streets, let that power line fall in the water and electrocute somebody that's been canoeing down the street.
Listen.
Oh, we can't do, oh,
Again-
I'm sorry, we can't do that either because we don't have the money to do that.
Yeah, yeah. All right, guys.
Well, when somebody gets electrocuted, we'll call you.
Make a motion, let's
I make a
move it.
motion to put it at
This
4.2.
filibuster isn't working anymore.
All right, I'll second the 4.2.
Mr. Green, can you please recalculate the
Yes, thank you.
percentage increase based on 4.2 millage?
Yes, the tentative rate as proposed by Commissioner Velasquez at 4.2 would be 2.32%, higher than the rollback rate of 4.1046, and just for
2% higher?
2.32%, which would be less than your 3% homestead. And that would generate, the difference between that and the rollback would be $298,000, which is, again, just for context, trying to help out here, about your CTS number. So without that tax bill being paid this year, as we know, you'll probably be somewhere around the rollback revenue collection.
Okay, so,
Okay,
It's
call the
your-
question, please.
Commissioner Velasquez?
yes.
Vice Mayor Paul?
Yes,
Mayor Burkett?
No. So,
I want to apologize to all the residents here. I'm very sorry. I tried my hardest. I worked very hard for all you guys.
all
I've
you
done
had
it all
to do
this
was
time.
meet in the middle,
No.
but you didn't.
that is the
Commissioner-
middle.
Commissioner?
That is not the
Commissioner, can we
middle.
hold, Commissioner,
All you
can we?
had to do was meet in
Commissioner,
the
just
middle.
please can we adjourn for 5 more minutes? I don't know what, adjourn,
Okay,
right?
she's going to be outside taking, I guess, a recess.
So
But
what-
we cannot adjourn this meeting. We need to, at a very minimum, recess it to a future date next week.
Should we recess it for 5 minutes again?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You can come up. You can come up.
It's not.
He hasn't spoken. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Bud Thomas. I'm a resident of Champlain Towers North, 8877 Collins Avenue, Unit 609. This is not how meetings should be run.
That's
They
for
are.
sure.
They are not. Most meetings happen behind the scenes. You come out here as a group of people with a common,
we can't do the
with a
behind the scenes.
common agenda, and you get stuff done. It's embarrassing. You've had people waiting here for 40 minutes
Yeah.
to talk about something we actually care about, and you guys are quibbling over what is it, like?
100,000.
2/10%? It's
100,000.
embarrassing. You guys are all embarrassing yourselves. You really are. And I'm sorry, as a resident of this town, this is not how it should operate. It really
No,
should not.
You're right. You're right. You're right. Anybody else who hasn't spoken? Okay, we gotta let the planning and zoning board go. We're,
Mayor, you
We're
cannot, you
recessed?
cannot adjourn this meeting
well, we're not
without
adjourning.
three.
We're recessing.
For 5 minutes?
Well, we can recess till tomorrow, right, at the same
No,
time?
you need a motion to recess this meeting, and you need a quorum to take action.
Oh, so a recess is not possible?
Not a permanent recess and a continuation of this meeting till a future date, not without a quorum present.
Why don't you go see if you can
I'm
get her?
recessing, I'll be back. Not leaving the building.
Yeah, let's take a 5-minute break, then we'll come back. see that. I don't have my contacts in tonight. So I'm a little bit at a disadvantage. I'm not seeing as well.
I'm watching.
All right, well, listen.
Get our stuff done.
Yeah. Want to call the roll again?
Yes, Mayor.
All right.
7:05, Commissioner Velasquez.
Here.
Vice Mayor Paul.
Here.
Mayor Burkett.
Here.
Mayor, Commissioner Castro, and Commissioner Salazar are absent. You have a quorum.
Okay, good. I've been huddling with Jason, and we've been going over the numbers. And I think that probably I'm going to be able to go to 4.2 because I think that we're going to lose out on the Champlain Towers South revenue for this year, and that will charge everybody in town just a little bit more, but that will account for the loss the town's going to experience with respect to the collapse. Is that correct, Jason?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
All right, so I'm going to set the gavel aside and pass it over to Nellie, and I'm going to make a motion to
The
move
motion is
forward.
already on the
Is it?
table for 4.2.
Oh, it
But
is?
that one
Yes,
failed.
it
That one
is.
failed.
I
made
beg
the
your
But
motion.
that one failed.
I'm sorry?
No, it didn't because we never voted.
Yeah, it failed.
You did technically.
Okay, so
Okay.
I make the motion for 4.2.
Okay, I'll second that. I can't second that because I can't second anything. Go ahead.
I need to read
No,
into the
but
record.
that's all right. Go
Well,
ahead.
Tina, you can second it.
I did before, okay.
Okay.
Just
Call the
deja
roll,
vu.
please.
Whatever
And
makes you feel
if
better,
I-
Charlie.
Sandra, I'm sorry, Madam Clerk. Just reading into the record again, as required. The tentative millage rate being voted on is 4.2. That is 2.32% higher than the rollback rate of 4.1046.
Very good. We have a motion. Would you please call the roll?
Yes, Mayor. Commissioner Velasquez?
Yes, 4.2, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Vice Mayor Paul?
Yes.
Mayor Burkett?
Yes.
Mayor, the motion carries.
All right. All right. Enjoy your
Thank you
meeting
very
planning
much,
and
and I
zoning.
Mayor,
apologize
Thank you
for
for
all
the
the
Mayor,
delay.
residents that are
budget.
here.
We
Oh,
need the
budget, hold on.
I make a motion to pass the budget.
I need to read, can I
second.
read the resolution?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay.
A resolution of the Town Commission of the Town of Surfside, Florida, adopting the final budget for the fiscal year commencing October 1st, 2021, and ending September 30th, 2022, providing for expenditure of budgeted funds, providing for budgetary controls, providing for grants and gifts, providing for budget amendments, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date. Item 5.
Is there a motion?
I made a motion already.
And I seconded.
All right.
I'm sorry, if I may. Mayor?
Yeah.
Do you need to recalculate the budget based on the reduced millage?
Yes, we're adding that in there. It's not part of the resolution, but the backup, I guess the budget summary, which is in your package, will be lowered by that amount. Will be lowered by that amount, which I don't think we need to necessarily reread that exact number in there.
Okay, and if you could do those recalculations, and also, Mayor, we need public comment.
Okay. Anybody want to comment? Okay. I see Jackson in the back with his hand up.
Jeff, you don't want to say anything before you go? Whichever of you.
Jeff Rose, 51 Fried Avenue. We should do the study on the building, even if we don't get the grant, in light of what happened. Thank you.
Okay, so what that would do in the budget summary is lower the revenue from the 13.6 million shown to $13,136,116.
Okay.
And we'll update the appropriate budget summary document to be attached to the resolution. Thank you.
All right. So that is made a part of the motion then, I assume? Or is that is that resolution changing? Is that?
No, if you look at the
Resolution
words of the
language?
resolution, the resolution doesn't have to change. It's the backup for the resolution.
I'm sorry, the resolution stays the same. The budget summary just changed, as Mr. Green indicated.
Just reading it into the record.
Got it. Okay. Anything else we need to do, Madam Attorney, other than vote?
I think we took public comment. We had none, so proceed with the vote, Mayor.
Call the question, call the vote, please.
Commissioner Velasquez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Paul,
Yes.
Mayor Burkett,
Yes.
Mayor, the motion
All
carries.
right. Congratulations, everybody.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Yes, second.
Yes, goodbye.
Okay.